Hey everyone, ready to uncover some awesome side hustle ideas?
Yeah, I think today's deep dive is going to be super interesting.
Totally. We're looking at this guide, 20 Side Hustles for Women. It's like a roadmap for 2025 and beyond, for anyone who wants to make extra cash, explore new things, or even start a whole new career.
It's not just a list of ideas, though, right?
Right.
This guy digs into why side hustles are so hot right now, especially for women.
Yeah, why now? What's pushing this whole thing forward?
Well, it talks about this big shift in how we think about work, like the rise of the gig economy.
Okay, so less about the 9 to 5 grind.
Exactly. More people are making money from different places, not just one job.
So it's not a career ladder anymore, it's more like a jumble gym. We get to choose our own path and climb in our own way.
I like that. And for women, this can be really empowering. Think about it. You can control your own schedule, maybe make some extra cash, and even learn new skills that can help your career, whether you stay where you are or try something new.
And let's be real, being your own boss is pretty appealing.
Totally.
But before we get carried away, what are some of the key benefits from the guide that stand out to you?
Obviously, the extra money is a big one, but the guide really focuses on skill development. It's like a side hustle is a training ground for learning all kinds of things.
Mm.
Marketing, budgeting, even leadership skills.
Yeah, it's like real world experience you can use anywhere. And they talk about networking too, right?
Definitely. Side hustles can help you meet new people and grow your professional circle.
Plus, there's that flexibility, that work-life balance that I think a lot of women are looking for, especially if you're juggling a family or just want more control over your time.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the why behind side hustles, but now let's get to the juicy part. The 20 side hustle ideas themselves. We're about to uncover a whole world of possibilities.
The guide does a good job of sorting these ideas into categories. Makes it a lot easier to wrap your head around, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. Like there are options where you can use your existing skills, stuff like freelance writing or bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping might not sound glamorous, but if you're organized and good with numbers, you can make some serious bank with that.
For sure. And then there are these service-based hustles.
Yeah.
People are busy, they want convenience, things like personal chefs, pet care, even grocery shopping for families who are just slammed.
Actually, I know someone who started a grocery shopping service for older folks in her
Oh,
community.
oh wow.
Yeah, and it's taken off. It's amazing how you can turn a simple service into a whole business just by seeing what people need and filling that gap.
Totally. And the guide also talks about turning your passions into profit, like if you're crafty or love to bake, those are creative side hustles that could be really cool.
I'm already picturing Etsy shops and farmers markets. So many possibilities.
It's inspiring.
But out of all 20 ideas, which ones really got you thinking? Which ones sparked your side hustle curiosity?
Honestly, I was intrigued by the online teaching idea, like tapping into this huge world of online learning, sharing what you know with everyone.
Powerful, right?
Yeah, to reach people across the globe and build a community around your passion. That's amazing.
And the guide says you don't have to be a certified teacher or anything. If you've got a skill or knowledge you're passionate about, there's an audience out there who wants to learn from you. What else caught your eye?
Okay, I admit it. The flipping and reselling thing kind of sparked my inner bargain hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Digging through thrift stores for those hidden treasures, giving them a new life, and making a profit. There's something so fun about the treasure hunt aspect of that.
And the guide even gives you tips on where to find the best deals and how to sell your finds, which is super helpful. What I find so fascinating is how many of these side hustles can be done completely online.
Yeah.
So much flexibility and reach, you can literally build a business from your couch and connect with customers all over the world.
And we're seeing this trend toward personalized services too. It's all about meeting people's specific needs, whether they're busy, overwhelmed, or just want something tailored to them.
Like customized solutions for anything. Okay, so now we've got all these ideas bouncing around in our heads, but how do we actually get started? I mean, this guide doesn't just tease us with possibilities. It actually gives us a roadmap, right?
It does.
So imagine we've got our side hustle idea brewing. What are the first steps the guide recommends to make it happen?
Okay, so let's say that side hustle idea is taking shape in our minds. What's next? What are the first steps?
Well, this guide is all about structure, planning. You don't want to just jump in blindly.
Right.
It says start by figuring out your skills and passions. What are you good at? What do you actually like to do?
Makes sense, right? You want this to be something that energizes you, not something that feels like, ugh, another chore.
Exactly. It should feel like an extension of who you are, what you enjoy. Then, the guide says research the market. Is there a demand for this? Who are your ideal customers? What are they willing to pay?
So it's like doing a little detective work, making sure your idea has a chance to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
setting realistic goals, right? Don't try to do everything at once. Start small.
Yeah, build that momentum, celebrate those wins as they come. Of all the tips, what really resonated with you? Like, what would be super helpful for someone just starting out?
I loved the advice on defining your ideal customer, like
Ah,
really getting specific.
it's key.
The guide asks these questions. Who are you serving? What are their needs? What are their demographics? Their interests?
Oh, it's like you're painting a portrait
Yeah.
of your target audience, right? So you can tailor everything you do directly to them.
Love that analogy.
And the guide encourages using all these online tools and resources to do your research. Analyze social media trends, check out your competitors' websites, even use free survey tools to get feedback.
So smart. It's like having a whole research team at your fingertips. Another tip that I thought was great was to start small. You don't need a fancy website or a huge marketing budget right away.
Oh,
The guide says build your portfolio, offer some free services to get started, or maybe do a limited launch to test things out.
exactly. Get some experience under your belt.
Build your confidence. Figure out what works, what doesn't. You don't have to have all the answers right from the start.
Nope.
It's a process, right? A journey.
Totally.
Speaking of journeys, this guide doesn't shy away from challenges. Like, let's be real, starting a side hustle isn't always easy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones it talks about is balance. How do you balance a side hustle with everything else in your life? Work, family, all that.
Yeah, time management is a huge one. Any strategies from the guide for making that work?
Oh, yeah. Lots of them. Creating a schedule that actually works for you, setting boundaries to protect your time.
Okay, so boundaries are key.
Really important. Using tools like calendars and to-do lists to stay organized.
Right, it's about becoming the boss of your own time. Prioritizing, delegating if you can, and not being afraid to say no to things that don't fit into your goals.
Absolutely. And, you don't have to do this all alone.
Yeah.
The guide talks about getting support from friends, family, or even online communities.
Having a cheer squad makes a big difference. Another challenge it talks about is dealing with rejection and setbacks. Let's be honest, not every idea is going to be a home run, and not every client's going to be a perfect fit.
That's true.
So how do you handle those tough moments?
Well, the guide encourages reframing them. Instead of seeing them as failures, see them as learning experiences.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, analyze what happened, get feedback from people, and use those experiences to do better next time.
It's like that saying, every failure is a step closer to success.
Exactly. It's about building resilience.
Yeah, you got to be able to bounce back.
And the guide also says to celebrate the small wins. You know, acknowledge your progress.
Yeah.
It's easy to get so caught up in the hustle that you forget to appreciate how far you've come.
So true. Pause, take a breath, give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing this. Now, I love that this guide not only gives practical advice, but also tackles some of those frequently asked questions that come up when you're thinking about a side hustle.
Yeah, it anticipates what people are wondering about.
Like one question is, what's the cheapest side hustle to start? Because not everyone has a ton of money to invest up front.
Right.
So what are some of the low-cost options it highlights?
Pet sitting, dog walking,
Yeah.
those are always in demand. You could also offer personal shopping or errand running services, things that don't require a lot of upfront investment.
Those are great, low risk, and you can potentially make good money. It's a perfect way to dip your toes in the water before committing to something bigger.
For sure. And another question it addresses, what makes a side hustle realistic?
Ah, good one.
It emphasizes finding something that really fits your skills, interests, and the time you have available.
It's got to be sustainable, right?
Yeah.
You don't want it to feel like another job on top of everything else you're doing.
Exactly. It's all about finding that sweet spot where passion meets practicality.
And speaking of practicality, the guide also dives into work-from-home side hustle ideas.
Oh yeah, the home office dream.
Working in your PJs, setting your own hours. What's not to love? Did the guide highlight any specific work-from-home options that stood out to you?
Definitely. We see those creative pursuits like arts and crafts, the world of graphic design if you're techie, and social media management, which is always evolving.
It's amazing how technology has made remote work so accessible. You can literally build a business from your living room and connect with clients across the globe.
And the guide even addresses younger women who might be thinking, hey, I want to do this, but I don't have a ton of work experience yet.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
So what does the guide recommend for them? Like, what are some good side hustles for building experience and boosting that resume?
They mentioned personal shopping, tapping into those fashion skills and trend spotting abilities, And of course, the classic babysitting gig. Always in demand, and it teaches you responsibility and how to work with people.
Plus, who doesn't love hanging out with cute kids?
Exactly. And with the podcast boom happening, podcast transcription is another great one.
Oh, good point. Lots of demand for that skill right now. And it's something you can hone and use in all sorts of fields.
Hmm.
Okay, but we can't talk about side hustles without talking about building your brand, promoting yourself, getting the word out
The
there.
marketing magic. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have a great idea or service. People need to know about it.
Right. The guide really stresses having a strong online presence. Whether it's a website, social media, or a combination of both, you've got to be visible.
It's like building your digital storefront, you know?
Exactly. A
Yeah.
place where people can find you, learn about what you do, connect with your brand.
And it doesn't have to be complicated or expensive, right? There are so many tools out there that make it easy to create a professional-looking online presence, even if you're not a tech expert.
Absolutely.
So no excuses, right? Get yourself out there, share your story, showcase your talents, and let the world see what you've got. But even with a solid plan and a great online presence, we know challenges are going to pop up. It's part of the process.
It's the entrepreneurial roller coaster.
And this guide doesn't sugarcoat it. It talks about those bumps in the road and gives advice on how to handle them.
It does.
So let's dive into some of those challenges. One that comes up a lot is balancing a side hustle with all the other things we're juggling in life. Finding that balance between passion and practicality.
It's a constant dance.
It is. And we talked about time management before, but any other strategies from the guide for making that work?
Oh, yeah. They suggest techniques like time blocking,
Mm.
where you set aside specific chunks of time for different tasks.
Oh, time blocking is a lifesaver.
It really is. It's like having a roadmap for your day, making sure you're giving attention to both your side hustle and your other responsibilities.
So you're not just finding time, you're actually making time and using it intentionally.
Exactly. And using productivity tools, things like project management apps or online calendars,
Yeah.
to stay on track.
Organization is key. Now, another challenge it addresses is dealing with rejection and failure because, let's face it, that's going to happen at some point. Not every idea is going to take off. Not every pitch is going to land.
That's the reality of it.
And it can be tough to bounce back from that. So does the guide offer any advice on how to handle those setbacks?
It does. It talks about shifting your mindset. Instead of being afraid of failure, see it as a chance to learn and grow.
Okay, so turn that frown upside down.
Right. View those setbacks as feedback. They can help you refine your approach and become even better at what you do.
It's all part of the journey, right?
It is. And the guide reminds us that success isn't a straight line. There are going to be twists and turns and unexpected detours along the way.
Love that analogy. It's about embracing the adventure.
And don't forget about your support system. The guide talks about reaching out to mentors, coaches, or those online communities we talked about before.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with people who get it, who can cheer you on.
It makes a huge difference. Sharing those experiences, celebrating the wins, and offering encouragement can be so valuable.
Okay, so we've talked about the fun stuff, the ideas, the excitement of starting something new, but there's also the less glamorous side, the legal and tax stuff.
Oh yeah, the paperwork.
Exactly. The guide stresses how important it is to understand your obligations, like getting the right licenses, keeping good records for taxes, all that. And it can feel overwhelming, especially if you're new to this whole entrepreneurial world. So any key takeaways from the guide on how to navigate that part of running a side hustle?
Definitely. The guide emphasizes research and getting expert advice when you need it.
Makes sense.
Be proactive, stay informed, and make sure you're doing things the right way.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, talk to professionals, and invest in the resources that will help you succeed.
Exactly. Building a solid foundation from the start is so important.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the reasons behind the whole side hustle boom to exploring those 20 exciting ideas to all those practical tips on launching and running your own venture, it's been quite a journey.
It really has.
I'm telling you, this guide is packed with so much good stuff.
It really is. Anyone thinking about a side hustle should check it out. It's got something for everyone, no matter where you're at in your journey.
Absolutely. But we all know that information is only powerful if you actually use it right up.
So true.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive here, I'm curious, what's sticking with you? What really jumped out from all those side hustle ideas?
What got those wheels turning?
Exactly.
Well, I think it's about taking some time to think about what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and what your goals are. What
Yeah.
feels right for your future?
What gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning? What problems are you passionate about tackling?
Yes. And I think the biggest question is, what action are you actually ready to take? Because we've explored all these ideas, we've got the tips, the inspiration.
Mm.
Now it's time to put it all into action.
Explore those options that caught your attention. Do a little research. Maybe even reach out to someone who's already doing something similar. Get advice.
Absolutely.
And remember, you don't need to have every single detail figured out from the get-go.
It's a process.
It's a journey, and you learn and adjust as you go.
One of the things I love about side hustles is that they can be so empowering. You're taking control of your finances, creating a career that fits your life.
Mhm.
You might even discover some hidden talents along the way.
I love that. And I hope this deep dive has given everyone listening a sense of what's possible because whether you're looking for some extra income, want a creative outlet, or just crave more freedom and control over your time, there are so many options out there.
It's true. So go for it. Explore, research, take that first step towards building the future you want.
And as always, happy hustling, everyone.